Hi there. Thank you for joining us. And on behalf of Anglophone School District South, I would like to welcome you to our kickoff to kindergarten presentation. This presentation is designed to give you a look at this year ahead as your child gets ready for kindergarten. So let's get started. Transition to Kindergarten is a series of events designed to help you and your child prepare for beginning kindergarten next fall. More resources and information regarding the year ahead was provided in your kindergarten registration package that you received at your child's school when you registered for kindergarten. The kickoff for kindergarten is designed to give you some information about the growth and development of a typical 4-year-old and to provide you with suggestions and activities that you can do at home to help support the transition of your child to kindergarten. Next up, we have the IDA, which I will discuss in more detail later in the presentation. Appointments for the IDA will be made through Family and Child Education Team. Welcome to Kindergarten is an opportunity for you and your child to come to the school to participate in some fun activities in a school setting. Information regarding the transition programs will be provided later in the year by the Family and Child Education Team. Next up is the orientation day, which is a scheduled half day where your child will attend school and experience what a typical day in kindergarten will look like. There will also be a chance to have a short bus ride, which is often a big favorite, to help the kids become more familiar with the bus. A child's formal education begins in kindergarten, but learning begins at birth. You have been your child's first and best teacher during those critical first 5 years of life. You will continue to support your child through this transition year and in the years to come. This is so key because we know that you have already taught your child so much, and you will continue to be so critical in your child's success as they develop and learn through the school system. A big change like this, like starting kindergarten, can cause you and your child to feel anxious, and that's totally normal. And the goal of these transition events is to reduce the anxiety and to help make the transition to kindergarten as smooth as possible. Now we're going to talk about some areas of development of your 4-year-old and ways to support this development at home. The first area is social development, which is important to encourage at home to help support the interactions with peers and other adults. We often assume that children are just going to learn these skills by just going through life. However, some guidance at home can help your child be prepared for things that they will have to do at school, like waiting their turn. This is really hard for grown-ups at times, and it's even more difficult for children. So you can do some things like playing some simple games like Candyland, Snakes and Ladders, so that they learn that each game has its own set of rules and that they can experience the feelings that come along with winning or losing. And you can talk about those feelings and have those conversations about sharing and waiting their turn. Another big one in this area is helping your child to be independent and getting dressed. Being able to zip up their own coat, get their shoes on, and get ready to go outside is super important because we all know that kids love being able to go outside and play. Also, practicing opening some of the containers and packages that you might send for lunch or snacks. These things will help your child feel more confident knowing that they can do these tasks and not have to ask for help. Next up is emotional development. You're encouraging growth in this area by helping your child to work through ways to solve simple problems. And also, as conflicts or problems arise, it is important to talk about and really label the feeling as your child is experiencing them. Children really need to be able to recognize the feelings that they're having, such as happiness, sadness, anger, frustration, disappointment. They often don't have those labels, so they really need to learn what the feelings are and how to name them. As children become aware of what they're feeling, we can help them to respond to those feelings in a way that's helpful and not so destructive, like taking deep breaths or some quiet time rather than hitting. Some other ways to help with emotional development are to help your child to really feel more secure by having regular routines such as bedtimes and meal times. Kids really know what to expect if their day is predictable. Encouraging your child to take responsibility by assigning some simple chores, just like even putting away their toys before they move on to doing something else. Encouraging them to try new activities is another great thing to try to get children to break out of their comfort zone and take a few risks and try something new. In the area of language and intellectual development, there are some key categories that are important to think about. having conversations with oral language, being familiar with rhymes and songs, knowing about books, and having an awareness of numbers and letters. The next few slides will give you some more ideas of ways to encourage growth in these areas at home. So language development. The first point on here is talking with your child. And really when kids enter kindergarten, we want to make sure that they are able to communicate really clearly with all the adults and children that they're going to meet at school. As parents, we get really used to the way our own children speak, and after a while, we may not even notice that they're mispronouncing a word, like when they say poon instead of spoon, and when they mix up pronouns or verb tenses, like if they said, him go to the store. You can help at home really by just rephrasing and repeating things back so that you could say to them, oh yes, we need 5 spoons on the table, and really emphasize that S sound. Or you could say, yeah, you're right, he went to the store. Some other great activities are singing songs and reciting nursery rhymes, encouraging to get your child to help you around the house. You can get them to help you with the laundry, talking about all the different types of socks, the big socks, the little socks, the stinky socks, what color the socks are. Just really helps them to categorize and organize those, and then reading with your child as much and as often as you can, and really encouraging them to read along with you. The next couple of slides are some videos that really give some great tips on things that you can incorporate into your story time at home that will help you get the most out of your stories with your child. You can ask open-ended questions about what's happening in the stories, like questions like, why do you think he couldn't get up? Really gets kids thinking and using their world knowledge to infer or predict what's going to happen next. These are things that often kids need to have practice with in order to get really good at it. Some other things with the rhyming, lots of kids' books have lots of rhyming in it, so you can really draw their attention to it. Sometimes you really have to teach them what rhyming means and point out how those words sound the same. Sometimes you can get them to come up with a rhyming word on their own. Also, because we know kids love to read the same book over and over, you can get them to fill in that word by pausing just a little bit. In one of the videos, she does a great job at that. She pauses, and the little girl just fills that word in because she's heard that book so many times that she knows exactly what to say. So enjoy these next couple of videos and look for the great tips that are used in them.
Well, the alphabet is your ABCs.
Yeah.
We like to cut. We like to glue.
Glue.
We like to hang the art we
Drill.
drew. Yeah, that rhymes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's not the word they use, but it still rhymes.
This book likes drawing.
It likes to rhyme.
Yeah.
We like to swing.
We like to slide.
We like lining up to go.
Inside.
Hey, that rhymes with inside and slide
And hide.
and hide
And hide.
and tied.
Inside.
Students read their reports in front of the class. When it was Anna's turn, she couldn't get up. What's wrong? Emily whispered. Why couldn't she get up?
Because she was too scared. She read all the books on, but she's scared looking at the class and reading her report.
Oh, why would you be scared?
I don't know. She just did it all by herself. She's scared of doing it for kind of all those people.
Oh, she a little bit shy,
Well, she knows all of them, but she's a little bit scared.
a little bit scared.
Pointing out numbers to your child, like the numbers on the microwave, your phone, or signs, are a great way to get kids interested and familiar with numbers. And as children develop, they are really starting to learn how to do longer directions. So giving them some 3-step directions, like go get your pajamas on, find your teddy, and pick out a book. Practicing these longer directions are important to help them get ready to be able to follow lots of directions once they begin kindergarten. Also, modeling reading and writing for your child as often as possible. So it can be as simple as reading a sign, like the McDonald's sign or the Tim Hortons sign, or making a grocery list together. So this really just draws their attention to the words that are around us every day. The last point on this slide is asking your child to tell you about what they did that day, whether it be at preschool or Grammy's house, so helping them to organize their story to have a logical sequence, which I'm sure you know that kids can easily get sidetracked. So really helping them to practice their storytelling is an important skill that preschoolers are learning. The suggestions on the last few slides give some ideas of how to provide a language-rich environment at home. So if you speak a language other than French or English, it's important to remember that speaking your home language is the best way to immerse your child in a language-rich environment. Parents often wonder if speaking their home language will interfere with their child's learning of English. It will not hold back the learning of English. It will actually help. Also, a good foundation in the pre-literacy skills in your home language will help with later reading and writing skills in English. Mixing languages is also really normal for bilinguals. It's a sign of a mastery of the two linguistic systems and is not a sign of confusion of the two languages. Also, being able to speak your home language will help increase your child's sense of security and give them pride in their identity. Parents often have questions about speech sounds, so this slide shows the ages at which sounds develop in 90 to 100% of children. So this can just kind of give you a little idea of how the sounds develop in the English language. You can see that the lowest rung there is at 2 years of age, the P sound. The next rung up is at 3 years of age. There's a lot of sounds that kids have by then. Then again at age 4, a few more, so the S, the L, SH, and then right at the top there's just those sounds that kids sometimes still have trouble with when they enter kindergarten, so the TH sound and the R sound. So kids when they enter kindergarten may still be saying things like dis for this, or thumb for thumb, or wabbit for rabbit. Sometimes parents will tell me that their child sounds as though they have a Boston accent, so they might say things like ca for car or girl for girl. Those are still pretty common when kids are entering kindergarten, so I wouldn't worry too much about those two top rungs. But if you notice that your child is having some trouble with any of the other sounds in the 2 to 4-year-old range, please give our program Talk With Me a call. Our number's at the end of this presentation. So give us a call. We can give you lots of ideas and tips and suggestions of ways to get these sounds coming at home. So things you might want to listen to, because sounds are often quite subtle and you might not even notice that they're not being pronounced correctly. So even have a family member or a close friend have a listen to your child and see if they can hear any kind of distortions or errors in those sounds. So things you might want to listen for are things like mixing up the k sound, so like tookie for cookie or bish for fish, poon instead of spoon, wadder instead of ladder. So just get someone or your husband, friend to have a listen to your child and see if you can hear any of those sounds that might be mixed up, and we can give you some help. Fine motor development are important skills for school-related tasks like writing, coloring, cutting, and gluing. Providing time to draw, color, and cut will help to strengthen the muscles in your child's hands and wrists. Putting scissors, however, into the hands of your preschooler can be a very scary thing, since we all have those visions of terrible haircuts. But really just trying some supervised cutting sessions at home, or you can try some other activities like playing with Play-Doh or stringing beads or macaroni. Another area in which fine motor skills are so important are those self-help skills of buttoning shirts and pants and zipping coats. Encouraging your child to practice these at home will help them to be independent when going to the bathroom and getting ready to go outside at school. This slide gives some suggestions on how to encourage your child's gross motor development. Providing lots of time to play and run outside is a great way to stay active and strong. Visiting the playground at the school that your child will attend in the fall is a great way to become familiar with all those play structures that they will be using. Also, the preschool years are a great time to introduce new activities like skating, dancing, swimming. It helps kids to stay active, learn new skills, and realize that it's okay to try new things. The IDA stands for the Early Years Evaluation Direct Assessment, and it is an assessment that is given to each child individually before they start kindergarten. This assessment is delivered through Family and Child Education, Anglophone School District South. So that will be set up through your child's school. Each person will be given an individual appointment. Lots of people wonder, what does the IDA assess? Well, the IDA assesses your child's developmental strengths and looks at some areas that your child might need to have a little bit more support on before they enter school. So the IDA assesses the 4 key areas of early childhood development, very much similar to the areas that we talked about before. They're defined in the IDA as awareness of self and environment, cognitive skills, language and communication, and physical development. And they've chosen these areas because they know that they are linked to children's readiness to learn at school. Here are a few photos of what the IDA looks like. Your child will have a one-on-one session with a family and child educator. The session will usually take about 45 minutes, might be a little bit longer, might be a little bit shorter, just kind of depending on how chatty your child is. Parents are generally not in the room during the assessment. However, if your child is anxious, the family and childhood educator would invite the parent to come in. Generally, kids are really excited to do the IDA and have lots of fun. After your child completes the IDA, you'll receive a summary of the results. It looks like this. The report is divided into the 4 developmental domains, and your child's results will be represented by a color-coded box. So if we look at this report, for example, Jimmy, you can see that in the first section for self and environment, he received a green. So that shows that he was having some typical development in that area. The next 2 categories of cognitive skills and language and communication, Jimmy received a red, which means he was experiencing some significant difficulty in these areas. So in this case, Jimmy would benefit from some further assessment, specifically with Talk With Me Early Language Services. The last category of physical development is divided into fine motor and gross motor. In this case, Jimmy received a white box with a line through it, which means that he did not complete enough items in this section to receive a score. And for gross motor, Jimmy also had a yellow, which indicates he was having some difficulty and that he could use some extra practice and exposure to enhance his development in this area. Now, please just remember that this is just a snapshot of your child's development, and that just like adults, children can have an off day where they are not maybe feeling well, maybe they didn't get a great night's sleep, or maybe they are a bit nervous or hesitant to show all the things that they know. If your child does receive a red or 2 or more yellow results, a family and child educator will contact you to discuss the specific areas that you could support your child at home. Or they will put you in contact with other community supports that might benefit your child. Now that you have your IDA report, you may want to share the results with caregivers or staff at any early learning facilities that your child attends. For example, if your child was having difficulty with fine motor, then getting everyone on board to practice activities such as cutting, coloring, or playing with Play-Doh would really help to develop those skills. Also, just remember that you're your child's first and best teacher, and providing that rich learning environment at home is so important. Also, a red or yellow does not mean that there's anything wrong with your child. It just gives us the opportunity to focus in on those areas that will help your child be prepared and ready to start kindergarten in the fall. For some children, individual support may be helpful, and this may include home visiting and other follow-up opportunities through Family and Childhood Education, or FACE, or a referral to Talk With Me or other community agencies. Thank you for investing your time to learn more about this transition to kindergarten program through Anglophone School District South. Over the coming months, your school administration will be in contact with you about any upcoming events. Also, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of the programs listed below if you have any questions or concerns.